Hey,
Hey, friends. We're here a little early for all of you early birds that don't want to miss Nikki and Paula.
jingle, jingle, jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. I was going to try and do this background thing, but it looked kind of like distracting and annoying. It was like these blinking lights and shit, and I didn't want to give anyone a seizure. So I thought it was in our best interest to not do that. So we've changed a setting on our restream to see if we can get those comments coming in. Because guess what? We don't get 90% of the comments coming in. That's right, friends. So when you think we're seeing it and just ignoring you, we are not. We don't see the comment
Are
unless
you?
one of us looks at our phone and, like, I can't be that distracted.
I'm not sure we're live yet. Are we?
Oh, we are. Aloha, Nikki. Happy holidays. It's from George
Aloha.
Monty. We're live, sister. Boom sleigh.
Okay, boom
George, you hear
sleigh.
us? You see us? I mean, are we like a BS? Oh, wait. I wonder why you're not in it. Isn't that
Um,
weird? Uh,
I'm not in it.
well, there you are now. Yeah, baby. I fixed it. Once again,
There.
it's a
Okay.
little techo. Yeah, baby. We are in it to win it. Boom.
Boom. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas to
And
those
we're
who
not going to
celebrate.
start. Working good. All right. Thanks for the feedback, George, because I'm seeing your comments. What a bonus. Don't know if anyone else is commenting, but I got to find some kind of tech human that understands Restream. You know why? Because this is really annoying. After the fact, I'm seeing all these comments that we're missing because I don't know, LinkedIn's just not feeding them through. And I don't know if it has something to do with because people aren't registering and they just see us live, so they just jump in and click. I again, no clue. It's
No
really
clue.
annoying though. But
So, Western New York, we are the WNY report. So, Nikki has a big number to report.
the numbers are coming in hot, friends. So I was sharing with Paula just now all the Western New York dispensaries opening. I mean, I'm not talking just one, two, three, or four, because we've got four right now. But we have, the first one, of course, was our favorite. Well, oh, I can't really say that because that's really not fair. But they were the first ones I knew that were open. How about that?
How
Uh,
about that?
that's Dank716. Love Aaron. Think he's like a bad bud. He's awesome. Then we had Herbal IQ join the mix. Then we had Cantera, the delivery company. Now we have Premier Earth, which has just opened in Buffalo, I believe, last week, maybe the week before. So do that math. We're at four, right? Yep. And then we're going to have three more that are literally like at the crack of opening, two in Amherst and one in Hamburg. So that equals seven, friends. That's seven adult use plus three medical that we'll have in Buffalo, like
I
really
thought
Western New York.
I thought our friend that we've been talking to is in Tonawanda.
No, oh, well, technically Tonawanda, Amherst. I mean,
Okay.
the division's kind of like your city block kind of thing.
Okay.
It's yeah, you're probably right. It probably is technically Tonawanda, but Amherst's kind of right next door.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, okay. So in theory, we have an Amherst, a Tonawanda, and Hamburg coming
I just
online.
wanted to make sure your numbers were good.
I and I want you to make sure because I would like to stand corrected. I miscommunicated last week, and when one makes a mistake, I think they should actually fess up to that. In my lack of knowledge, Flower City is just that, Flower City. They're a brand. And they are not owned, to not be confused with Flower City Dispensary, who is working on getting Flower City Dispensary open. This is not the same human. And I found that out later. Apparently, Paula has some of that product as well. Very nice dog walkers, I might add, Mr. Flower City. So, just clarification. And also, Paula was more correct on her number than I was on mine as far as how many cards are actually out there with licenses that, should they have a property, should they meet all the qualifications of OCM, they can open right away. They don't have to wait for this new adult licensing lottery. So, but they have to be approved, they have to have everything right and everything going on. So those people that during the injunction continued to build, continued to, make sure their space was going to qualify for everything it needed to qualify for, they're going to get open as quick as they possibly can. Because why, Paula? We have a new lawsuit coming.
Oh,
Not one, not two, but three, I believe, is the latest number, if I'm
oh,
not
is that right?
mistaken.
Well, one has been filed,
Okay,
so we'll go with that.
let's go with
So,
that.
you know,
Facts,
it's
not
it's a
fiction.
little bit like the movies, right? You may have heard of Parasite 1. Now we're not going to get a prequel. We're going to jump all the way to Parasite 4 and Parasite 5 have teamed up for a new lawsuit. We don't know what happened to Parasites 2 and 3. Although I think one of those may have filed in LA County and another may have filed in Washington State. So the guy, yeah,
Interesting.
so this is an individual, Mr. Gay, who is going around the
Gay or
country.
day?
Gay, Gay.
Okay, just verifying.
That is the man's name. I forget his
I
first
believe
name.
you.
Um, is going around the country and basically questioning the social equity programs. What is his agenda? What is his purpose? I do not know. But his basic essence is that states are incorrect by offering preference to state residents. And in this particular case, Mr. Gay or his um, parasites are coming out and saying, and because it's not Mr. Gay this time, Parasite 1 was Mr. Gay as the applicant. Now he's got two other applicants, Parasite 4, Parasite 5, each of whom have applied or were attempting to apply. And one person found that when he or she was going through the application, that there was preference given to New York residents in reporting their prior, uh, or really in reporting their communities disproportionately impacted.
Okay,
Apparently, in the drop down menu, when you reported that, you could only report New York data. And then the other applicant re- said that the they mentioned charges, so that must have meant that they were trying to get the extra special consideration. Um, and the other contention that they have is both applicants said when they had to enter their ID, their driver's license information, that there was room to put in your New York data, but no room to put in any other data. Now, what I remembered, because remember I applied for a license. What I remembered is that we had to upload a photograph of the front and the back of the license.
which would make sense.
I don't remember that I had to actually type in my New York driver's license number.
But that would make sense, though. I mean, when you think about it, because if the picture was illegible and they couldn't like make it out or something, I mean, I don't know. I didn't do an application, so you would definitely
Yeah.
know than I.
I,
But just throwing that out there.
so
Um,
so the question came immediately from all over the state. Um, did I think that this was a real problem? And I do. I do. Because we don't yet have a judicial holding on either the first Veracite suit, which was a federal suit, as this one is. It's filed in the Northern District, which is kind of up in Rochester area, not Rochester,
think it was
Albany area.
Albany Capital District.
Yeah, Rochester and Buffalo are the Western District. So of Yeah, it's very interesting. The entire state of New Jersey is one federal district. So if you file a federal case in New Jersey, it's the
It
federal
is.
district of New
I
Jersey.
I've heard
New
that.
York, and I think it's because New York, is well, New Jersey's old too. Um, I don't know why we have four federal districts. I guess
Well,
it's
we're bigger than New Jersey in land,
in
but
population, well, and in land. And so there are four federal districts: north, south, east, and west.
I mean, like,
Um,
look at Iowa. Look how many votes they have, or whatever. Like, look at some of
right.
these smaller states that, in their mind, when they divided everything up. That was a really big state, and so because it was so big, we're going to become overpopulated. So we need all these little things. I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm no
Well,
historian.
when I was getting admitted to the Western District, it was pointed out to me that the Western District, which is Buffalo and Rochester, and this large swath going all the way down kind of towards the southern tier, but over to the western part. That is the largest geographic district in New York.
Okay,
It's We hear a lot about the southern district because that's Manhattan, and
right.
so a lot of really key cases get determined in the southern district of New York.
Okay.
um, we hear a lot about the Eastern District thanks to the mob. A lot of mob cases were charged in the Eastern District.
And
I
so
think
that would be Albany.
no, Eastern District is like Long Island and Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's because a lot of mobsters back in the day when we had a lot of mob cases, I think uh, a lot of a lot of the defendants had property in like the mansions of Long Island.
Got it. Got
Okay.
it. Got it.
I
All
think
right.
that's why.
So,
You still do get, like, there were, when we had a lot of immigration cases a few years ago at the beginning of the prior president's term. Um, they were, we had a lot coming out of the Eastern District. But
okay.
anyway, this case is filed in the Northern District, which is up by Albany.
Okay.
What we can reasonably expect, kind of like we saw with the Fiore case, which was filed at the state level, because Fiore and his colleagues were here in New York. Um, so that judge relied a lot on what the judge in the Veracite 1 case had written. And so we can reasonably expect that the new federal judge, which might be, I need to look up who the new judge is. Um, it it would be reasonable that they would go back to what was written by the first judge and the Fiore judge and say, you know what, OCM has already been put on notice that their
This is
practices
cool.
were not quite up to par. And of course, the main thing that is not quite up to par is, and that it's coming up in the Veracent 4 and 5. If we, the state law, the MRTA, the cannabis law, stated that all markets would be open on the same day. In other words, everybody who was interested in applying first would get their notifications at the same time and have an opportunity, as of March 1st. If you've got your stuff together, you've got all your permits and your approvals, March 1st. And I'm just pulling that out of my head. It's just an example. Um, that would be the day that people can open. The state hasn't handled it that way. The
No.
state has done this really kind of a trickle effect, right? Because it was this time last year that we were all whooping and celebrating that
Oh, because we had one
we
open.
were opening one. Um,
And
and
we were in a blizzard this day last year, so in Buffalo. Do you
right.
remember?
So so I
What
think
a
that,
difference a year makes.
yeah, what a difference. And actually, I think the one opened on December the 30th, if I remember correctly. It was
29th
just,
to 30th, yeah.
yeah, it was just within that, because Kathy Hochul wanted 100
Sneaked
stores
in.
open by the end of 2023, and that didn't happen. But what also did not happen is that after the Veracite 1 case, where the plaintiff raised this issue that the MRTA said that all markets would open on the same day. The state persisted with the rollout of the card, where people who qualified for card were given the opportunity to open even before the social equity and the general applicants were given an opportunity to apply, right?
Hmm.
Because we just finished that application process,
Yes,
and
we
we're opening dispensaries left and right.
left and right. Like I just named off 10. We have 10
Right,
in Buffalo.
right.
I mean, 3 are medical, but 7 are literally on the cusp of opening that I know of.
And
So,
all of that
hi
before,
Tim, I see
hi
you.
Tim, all of that before our friends who applied as social equity or
Right.
general applicants
They
have
had,
even gotten
yes,
their applications reviewed.
these are part of
So
the 462 approved card licensees, or not even nonprofits. The nonprofit thing was over. These were actual
yeah,
cards, correct?
correct. So
Okay.
it'll be interesting. Um, I grew up on the Gulf Coast. I liken it to waiting for a hurricane, a Cat 5 hurricane to blow in from the coast, because I think we're going to get another lockdown. I really do. I think I see the writing on the wall. So my advice to people has been, if you can open, go on unopened. If the other thing that popped up,
But
and
you
I
got to be approved by the OCM to open. You can't just like,
no, 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 no. You
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 need
do, like,
your
so
sticker.
what's interesting about card, in case people don't know, is card is really a two application process. So the first application closed September 26th of 2022,
Yes.
was it?
Yes, because the 2021 we were just figuring out who's who and where's where.
Yeah. September 26th, 2022, card closed, the applications closed. And Um, so anybody who got approval, remember they would announce 30 and another 30, and the people would clap, and there were tears of
But we got up to
joy.
462. We thought there was going to be 150
We
cards,
thought there would be 150.
not
Yep.
462, 63, whatever the hell the number is. I mean, that's like a big difference. And not that that's bad or good. I'm in no way suggesting one way or the other, but that's like a huge transition. And I just think of all the people that have put so much money and time, effort, and energy and all their entire life on the line for this, to only
Hmm.
be told that now we're going to have a potential TRO, temporary restraining order again. Like I don't know this. This is not my legal advice or prediction. I'm just throwing it out there. If it's based like the other two that have gone through where we're at now, it just like kind of seems like that's been the process. Not that I'm an expert or a lawyer.
But I
But
do think there are a lot of people holding on to their provisional card license, which is what you get when you first get that email that says, "Congratulations, you've been approved." You're not ready to open yet, because after you get that, then you have to get your location approved by, if you didn't have that before, which you couldn't have, um, in card. I mean, it's different from the way the new application rolled out. And then you have to complete a lot of inspections and discussions and submit more information about your budget and your true parties of interest. And then you get your final approval.
I mean, that's a lot of stuff. That doesn't happen overnight.
So that friend that you and I talked to separately this week, but I had given you her contact info, she had just completed her final application.
So
She her
she's
her
waiting
build
for
out
that.
is done.
She's
Her-
literally
yeah,
waiting on OCM to say, okay, green light.
yeah. Her build out is done. Presumably they're gonna need to come out and look at
Inspect.
everything.
Hmm.
Um, she's got her certificate of occupancy, and she's hiring people. She's she's ready to go. She needs the scan.
She needs the
like
sticker,
the
man.
the QR code.
The QR code.
And of course, Dutchy will send out a representative to
Yep.
be on site. Kaya push, that's another big thing, or whatever HR. I shouldn't just push these two, Dutchy and Kaya push, because there
You
are,
know why
are
we
other.
push them? Because we know people there and it's comfortable, right? When you don't know people from other companies, it's just, we
Yeah.
don't know if they're okay, right? Like
Well,
you and I have been
also,
exposed to them through these events, right? So that's
also, I
how
think,
we know
I
them.
think Dutchy and Kaya push gave the card people some concessions on their price because none of this software is inexpensive.
No,
Yeah.
none of it.
So I think
And the
Dutchy is
customization and what you need, and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's a thing.
So all of that to say, I'm suggesting if people have a location and if they have a provisional card license and they have even one iota of a possibility of opening, to push through, because I'm not I'm not a fortune teller, and I certainly am not a federal judge, but I really do think that we're going to see another injunction. Um, the other thing, that's one lawsuit. So the other lawsuit that I've heard, kicked around is on the temporary delivery option. Because, originally, well, originally OCM said a lot of things, but along the way, OCM had said you could open kind of like Kentera in Western New York. You could open as a temporary delivery option. What I like about that is that a business could start to generate revenue very quickly um, while they're doing their build out. So it's a way to kind of jump in and get going. What's tough about it is, in effect, it means you've got to rent two spaces, right? You've got to rent your temporary delivery location where you're going to warehouse product and have your delivery people coming in and out and kind of have the home base. And that has to have security cameras and it has to have security and it's got to have a lot of things. It just doesn't have to have the same polish and the same procedures that you would need when you have actual traffic
No,
coming
and
into
they have
your
to
shop.
open that within a year, though, right? They have 1 year from their provisional to get open to a brick
Okay.
and mortar,
So
correct?
that was the original thing, right?
Okay.
So,
Did that
but
change now?
now what has been said, and this came about in, like, I want to say it was was it at the November meeting or the December meeting of OCM that they said, okay, now if you don't have your temporary delivery option, um, if you haven't told us that's what you want to do by December the 31st of this year, so next week, if you haven't told us by this time next week, you will lose that opportunity to have a temporary delivery option. And then,
Wow, that
and
was
then
some fine print.
that was surprising. So
No,
there are,
some fine print. Like that hasn't been. I haven't. That's the first time I've heard of that.
yeah.
Not
So,
that it hasn't been said, but I just first time in hearing that.
so the rumor is that some people are kind of mad about that. And
Got
so
it.
we're thinking that there might be some people who are going to sue over that, but we don't know. And also remember, I can say somebody might sue. Nikki, I could sue you over your polka dots. And that is even before
Stop
I knew
it.
you, even before I knew you, I used to say to people, you can sue anybody for anything. I can sue because you're not wearing polka dots. Maybe that's the
Do not.
lawsuit.
Yeah, will be
Everybody
the
must
next.
wear polka dots or we're going to sue them.
Well, yeah, okay, but yeah, that's messed
But
up.
but you can sue anybody over anything, is my point. And so when somebody says, "Oh, I'm mad about this temporary delivery option, I'm going to sue," go ahead and sue. It doesn't mean that the lawsuit will go anywhere,
No,
right?
no, it does not. It does not. But let's find some holiday cheer to talk about. Kudos
Okay.
to Premier Earth, and along with all the other dispensaries that have opened up in the last 2 weeks that are just like lines around the blocks, lines around everything. They're packed in like sardines. Go MJ dispensary in Rochester. Um, and I hear there's more on the pipeline for Rochester. I don't have an exact number because I haven't like actually physically talked to anyone. But just look at the list of card applicants that were
Hmm.
approved and try and figure, but it's hard to say because their location could have changed even if they were located
Yeah,
in, Rochester. It says it doesn't mean they're going to open in Rochester. They might decide to open in Syracuse.
yeah.
They could go anywhere. So it won't necessarily give you an exact number, but I've never thought of it like that. Just wondering who's really been working to build this up and build this out. I just really want to understand how the distributor license is going to really work. You know what I'm saying? Because that's
Nobody
really
knows. I don't see where the profit is, because the distributor gets paid. Distributor is the middleman, right?
the
Is
total
the
middleman.
distributor taking money from the cultivator or from the retailer?
I think both. The way it was explained to me is it's 15% from each. So
Oh,
where's that
actual
margin go?
mathematical formula. I didn't know that.
Again, this is hearsay. This was what I heard. I do not know if it is accurate legal premises,
Yeah, I
but
don't know that
I
I've
had
ever seen that.
heard that it was coming off of both sides. And I'm like, well, 15% when let's say they're only making 20, that like really kind of cuts into their juice, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, what do you think is going to happen to the consumer? The consumer is going to have
Right.
to pick that up. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's like a real thing. You know what I mean? I mean, there's like, I know we need it and I get we need it, but right now, because what's happening, my understanding is like the guy who grows it is actually delivering it to the dispensaries himself.
Yeah,
Like he's
that is
not
happening.
hiring it out, he's doing
No,
it himself
he can't
because
afford to.
not only can he not afford to, but I think as a cultivator, you can have a distributor license in
Right
conjunction,
now, but
but
that,
can you, with the processor, you cannot, correct?
um, well,
The
right now,
processor has to sell to the distributor.
right. So the adult use cultivators, AUCCs, have all three right now
Okay,
until June of 2024.
interesting. Okay, thank you for that
So
clarification.
that was that thing that
That's why we have a
got
lawyer on the
extended.
show, guys.
No, well, that's what got extended. Remember, I was writing about the whole supply chain is
Oh,
going to
buddy, I've read
go
so
kaput.
many things and dates. They just like
Yeah, I know. I know.
they're just they change like someone changes their underwear. I mean, like a lot. They change a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Hopefully, it
so it
changes.
is the holidays, and so here is my question for you, the medical advocate, the patient advocate.
Patient.
Suppose, suppose somebody between now and the end of the year wants to go to a dispensary and get something to gift to someone else. And suppose, I'm going to give you a couple of supposes. Suppose it's somebody who may have smoked a lot 10, 20 years ago, but really hasn't done anything ever since then because they've been afraid to, the stigma, the kids, the whatever. So how could you what would you do if you were shopping for something? And but the person has expressed kind of curious, like, yeah, maybe I'd be interested, but I don't even know what I would get. So what would you get for that person? The person who has nothing.
The hardest thing for me to say in that scenario is, did they enjoy smoking? Would they still enjoy smoking? So if they would still enjoy smoking, then by all means, a pre roll would probably be the best gift from a standpoint of easy handling. You don't need extra equipment, you don't need a pipe, you don't need a bong, you don't need any other.
Like a
mechanical.
dab rig. You don't
You
need
can
a
just like
dab rig.
spark that sucker right up, and you don't have to know how to roll. You don't have to worry about anything. I would also be cautious of, depending on the human, like if they haven't smoked in 20 years, you got to treat them like a newbie almost. They may have been like Captain Hippie in college, but now they've worked for the CIA and it doesn't work out so well. And now they're like retired and want to get back into it. I'm just using that as an off-site example.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
that's real.
like, they could work for the feds and then they can't do anything. I mean, I pulled the CIA out of my butt, but it could be the postman. So, you know what I mean?
But
So
would
at
he
the end
go
of the
postal?
day, yeah. So he literally, I would not recommend a high THC formulation. And the only one I've found that's like a low THC ratio that I would give my girlfriend or my grandma or somebody like that, it's been this brand called Drew Martin. I don't know Drew Martin. I've never actually tried his products, but I have his products. It's part of my sampling and tampling, and evaluating different products. But I try and stick with one product group and test all five of the joints that come in it, because if you don't really know how that consistency is. If you keep skipping and jumping around different
Yeah.
strains, it just, I mean, don't misunderstand. I love the whole sample pack, and that really jams me with happiness. But I try and just try one so that I can document it. But I would recommend something low THC. Um, that's for the smoker. For the non-smoker, a tincture, and I mean, I hate the taste of tincture, so I'm really not a fan of tinctures. The drinks are, low THC. Um, the low THC is heirloom, like they have like a 2 to 1
Hmm.
or a 1 to 1. I mean, their Honey Crisp is insanely tasty, but can I just tell you, it has like so much sugar. The reason I like it so much is literally it's like 800 fucking cal. I mean, it's a lot of calories.
Wow. I
It's
didn't
really
know
not
that.
800. I just pulled that number out of my butt, but like I'm just saying, drink a 4 pack of those, man, you're going to be on a
A
sugar
four
buzz.
pack. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
Break out the insulin.
right? But again, I would recommend starting low and going slow.
Well, here's.
One
Oh,
of the
go
other
ahead.
products is for like the gummy person, like using gummies. Go with the nanotechnology, because the nanotechnology hits you faster and you'll feel the effects faster, but they're also exit your system faster.
Now, I'm not familiar. I've never heard you talk about nanotechnology. Is this like Mork and
Nanotechnology?
Mindy? Are we back to Mork and Mindy? Nano, nano.
No, not nano nano. It's nano. What are you smoking over there? Um, so legit, it's nanotechnology just basically breaks the molecules of the THC, CBD, CBN, CBG, whatever we have in that flower. It breaks them down into much smaller um, particles. So basically, it absorbs into your body much faster. So it's like hitting you, like especially if you suck a nano gummy or the Listerine strip kind of
Uh-huh.
products that we have out there, the
Okay. Yeah.
flash melt technology. Tinctures, yes, but if you don't hold it in your mouth long enough, it won't be absorbed buccally and it still goes through first pass digestion. But the nano benefit is it goes through first pass digestion, but much more rapidly than regular size molecules. That's why you might not feel the gummy that you ate, at 2 p.m. till like 8 p.m. after you had a huge fatty dinner at 7. It just, but when it hits, it could hit. And if you've decided, well, I didn't feel anything, let me take another. And then you take another because they tasted real good. Well, you might go on a magic carpet ride that you won't enjoy.
Yeah.
So, you
And
know,
I think that
sharing
does happen to a lot of people with the gummies.
that does happen. And then they freak out, they get scared because, I mean, you green out. Like a lot of times you feel sick, you feel nauseous just because you just feel ick. And the best thing to do that is with that is actually make sure you have CBD on hand because CBD acts as an antagonist to THC. Even a vape pen with CBD is more effective at that moment than a tincture because the tincture still has to absorb into your system. Straight CBD strips, like the nanotechnology strips, boom slay, that's actually the best thing I've seen
Boom
someone
slay.
like. I mean, if it's got beta carpholine, which is like the peppery terpene, it literally will go. I mean, like literally, I had a pal who we smoked this green mint something and I got it from a show at the reservation and OMG. So she drank beer. Beer and cannabis are funny. Okay, it's different than wine and cannabis. It's different than mixed drinks and cannabis. Beer has full of myrcene or hops, right? So myrcene is the most dominant terpene in cannabis. So it's almost like when somebody drinks a lot of beer or even one beer and they're lightweight and they smoke something really ripping in myrcene, it's like they can get too high. So the very best thing for that is the peppery terpene comes and attacks that. And like that flash melt CBD thing, wow. I mean, I had a friend, she literally was like drooling and like like she it was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, whoa. I'm like, she's too high. So I mean, immediately I got these strips. I mean, I threw them in her mouth. I mean, I gave her like five of them, right? Like I wasn't playing. And you know,
Wow,
no,
you froze.
oh no, am I back? Am I back? Let me be back.
Yes.
Okay, good.
You're a little bit blurry, but you're back.
All right. Whoop. Um, so anyway, I'm just saying when you have a newbie, a nice gift pack would be that pack of joints and even like a CBD vape pen to go alongside it. That way you
Okay.
have like kind of a rescue method. I mean, again, this is somebody who hasn't smoked in years, whatever, or take some
Hmm.
gummies and it affects them differently. But anyway, that's like my 2 cents. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do or buy, but this has been my experience.
So cannabis places can be open on Christmas Day.
That's cool.
So I
Well,
think
can't beer stores?
I think beer stores can. I'm not sure hard liquor can.
Hard liquor. I mean, come on. We're talking about Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Oh, interesting, Tim, about the botanical blends. Thank you for that feedback. I think you're absolutely correct on that because it's called Rose or something. It was kind of weird, I'm not going to lie. But I'm interested to try it. The packaging's so pretty, I hesitate to open it. Um,
Oh yeah, you held that up. I know which one you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll save it for our visit and
Oh,
we can help. We
interesting.
can do a review on Western New York Report to just share the whole experience because we'll be in a legal setting. Well, we'll have to go in a legal setting because there is no consumption on campus. Really?
So
Uh,
that's a good segue. Why don't you tell everybody where we're going to be? Now, next week on New Year's Eve, we're doing the same thing all over again.
yeah, well, not the same
Well,
thing.
every time you talk to us, it's a unique experience.
Correct.
But I
Correct.
will be in Maine
Yeah,
Um,
baby. Maine and
yeah,
out.
baby.
Oh, you got to get some weed from Maine. Or are you flying?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that because
Because I mean, let me just tell you, Maine has some really good products, I hear. I've had like literally two batches from there. I'm a
oh,
newbie,
interesting,
but each of
interesting.
the ones I had were like stellar, like
Well,
really
you
good
can text
flour.
me. Yeah, you can text me. I tend to gravitate toward the CBG, so you can text me
And that's an
um
excellent product.
what you do, what you want me to bring you. So I'm going to see an older friend, and um, then I will fly from Maine to Buffalo. And why don't you tell everybody what we're doing in Buffalo?
We are doing the Niagara Community College uh, Cannabis Conference. And it is 2 days jam packed, full of
Very full.
unbelievable humans. Like, unbelievable. Like, they have like three speakers at a time. I hate that because then what happens is people get overwhelmed. They don't know which one they should go to because if they're like interested in topic A, but they want to support me. So it's like, ooh, which one do I go to?
Well, one day is all culinary.
The first day, the 8th, is all culinary. Jordan Wagaman's coming in from Canada. Yeah, baby. But then we've got on day two, you have the whole legacy clan from California. Like, I'm talking like OGs, like
Yeah.
not dudes that are just like playing the game. These are dudes that have like created the industry. You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking Tim Blake, the dude who created the Emerald Cup. We're talking Swami. We're talking the Soil King. We are talking people I just can't think of their names right now, but there's like seven of them, and they're like just lit as shit. And I'm excited, like I'm fangirling over the whole experience. And let me join their private group. I was like, yeah, I'm one of them now. Not really. I'm nowhere near one of them, but I'm
So
just saying to be accepted and welcomed into their intimate legacy group is an honor.
so how could people find out more about it?
So go to Niagara Community College in Niagara. It's not Niagara Falls, New York. It's just Niagara, New York,
Let's see
on
if I can
Saunders
find it.
Settlement Road. That would be an outstanding idea because I did not think of the whole, you know, get a link. Hey, and you can put it right in that chat. Yeah, baby.
Right in that chat. Here we go. I got it.
Yeah, baby. Look at
Yeah,
this.
baby. Yeah, baby.
Did you see we put my logo looks better now too.
It does.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
did
look
it
at that. Boom.
boom
So
spray?
Melissa Moore has worked her tail feathers right off on this pretty significantly. And
Yeah, I
I
can't wait to meet her
highly,
in person.
she's an amazing person. I've known her now. We've connected in passing, but we've never really talked. And as I've gotten to know her, I mean, she is such a smart, sweet, genuine human. And that's my vibe. You
It's
know,
your vibe.
that
That is
is my
definitely your
vibe.
vibe.
I'm
Yeah.
kumbaya, man. Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. So were you always like that? Or was that a gift of the planet?
No, I was kind of like, I always had to be the best. I always had to, like, you know, I just, I didn't necessarily want to be the fastest. I wanted to be the most thorough, the most accurate, the most just comprehensive. And now I just want to be loved. I mean, I hate conflict. I hate not working together. I'm a resolver. I'm a solution person.
So
Like talking
so
about
that
the lawsuit, like kind of makes me sad because I thought we were past that. You know,
yeah,
I just thought that part was over, but it
no.
clearly isn't. I've heard, of course, about more lawsuits, but you just want to believe it's all hype, I guess, and it's not. So, that's kind of sad, right? And these
Yeah, it
people
is.
are just scrambling. And so, Paula, do you know the last numbers that of each of the application categories?
I don't. I have seen those numbers, but I did not take note
I
of
did
them.
not prepare either, and I meant to. Jeffrey
I know.
Hoffman always has a running total.
Yeah, I
But
think Jeffrey
wasn't it like
Hoffman,
7,000
but that's
applicants
for
for
all
retail?
of them. That's for all of them. I
That's
think
for
the
all of them. That's the first
yeah.
1,500 that came in with property, and then
Well, when
5,500. Is that what
but
you mean?
that's cultivators, that's processors, that's distributors, that's
Oh, it's all of them. Okay, 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 okay,
as
okay.
far as retail dispensary, I think we got something around 4,600 applications.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Um, and so, a lot of people are saying, well, that's a drop in the bucket compared to the unlicensed market. The other thing is, um, are there 4,600 people who could really launch a business, launch a retail business? I don't know. Are
And that
there,
would include those that have been working on a business, building it, and those perhaps that just happen to be a social equity applicant and can throw a building together because they know someone and whatever, however it works, right? Like, no
well,
shade, but if they could pull
yeah,
that off super fast compared to the person that's been working on this for literally 18 months,
yeah,
paying
yeah,
rent, doing things right, doing things legal, selling hemp, not stepping outside the lines, educating the community, building a community, really good humans, and you can get a dude that just, wow, I got money, I can pay for rent real fast, I can open up shop, and at the end of the day, he, maybe because he's a minority and checks that box, and the other person is a woman owned whatever, and she checks that box, but I don't know if there's bigger priority to a minority as there is a woman. I don't know any of that scoring or how it's prioritized. I just know, or a distressed farmer, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how they're gonna like throw them in the kitty with the random lottery system number. I mean, shit. When's the last time you won a big pick five? That's what
well,
we're talking about.
yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing. There. I think there are two categories really. There are the people that have a property,
Right.
um, and then I heard rather than that category you were just describing, which was somebody who had a pile of money but no property. I heard more from people who have applied for the license and they have these ideas, you
Okay.
know, and they don't have any money, they don't have a
Okay.
property. So
Okay.
I think
So
in
they
that,
could afford the 500 or the $1,000 to
yeah.
put their name in the hat, and they
And
don't.
so yeah, they
You didn't
they are
have a
thinking
property.
that, oh well, once I get this license, investors are going to run to me with cash.
Mm,
It's like, um
I don't think so.
or the other thing is people are, New York wanted to say that you don't need $1 million to open, but you really do need $1 million.
You really do.
It's
Between
I
inventory, between
Yeah,
employees, between taxes, between everything that goes into it, you're really kidding yourself. I mean, again, I see how much is going into some of these places. When they open and there's, lines out the door and, the money's flowing from the ceiling and from the sky, that's a beautiful feeling. But the more that open, how sustainable is that dispensary going to be? Yes, they have first mover advantage, which is huge. But if they don't differentiate early on with whether it's education, whether it's service, whether it's fast, whether it's, you know what I'm saying? Again, you've got to
yeah,
stand out somehow that makes you stay in the forefront.
And
And
marketing costs money.
marketing costs major money. I'm like part of that whole sector, right? And people get paid a lot. They get paid money to represent brands, but that's a real sticky situation in New York State. And it's like, it's silly because when I find a product I want to get behind, I mean, I literally have to work for that product. So hypothetically, a brand of flour wants to hire me to be their marketing human to go to, different sites, different retail sites, be there for opening days, doing the merchandising, and being part of that whole thing, where my client truly isn't necessarily the end user as much as it is the dispensary, which is fine. I'm like totally into that. But it's such a big state and it's such a big responsibility. And as I'm seeing so many stores come into the Buffalo market, it's really silly not to focus on this market a little bit because there's a lot of people that use cannabis, but it's just not conveniently located.
Yeah.
So the more you have spread out, the better off you're going to be. You shouldn't need 400 dispensaries in downtown Buffalo, right? You don't have the population to sustain that. But could you have 300 to 50 around Western New York as a whole? I think so. But again, I'm not a census person and I'm not, that's just kind of a number I kind of have come up with just based on how they're going to sort of issue licensing. I mean, what I know and things like that, right? But again, I just want it to move forward. I don't want a delay. And it's my understanding, and again, I don't know this, you can answer this better, but it would halt all license activity. It wouldn't just
All.
be the card
No, it's going to be
license.
all.
It would be like everything. Like
Hmm.
so, it doesn't matter if you've got a card provisional. It won't matter if you're part of submitted your application and the lottery numbers are about to drop, and if that injunction comes in and you're not open, like you're frozen, kind of thing, kind of
Yeah.
like the last one.
Yeah.
Which, shit. I mean, think about that. Talk about the pressure and the stress. And then you're waiting on OCM who has 60 of you coming at them with full force, like, ah! And OCM, meanwhile, is waiting on people to get approved through the whole state hiring process to be part of that, approval team. You know what I'm saying? They're hiring all the time for especially Albany. So, they're having a backlog of people and they know they need people. They're even like making contract positions. They're not even like kind of like when they did COVID and they had like a need for contract tracers right away. So they just like hired kind of like a lot of people. Well, I think that's kind of what the theory is right now.
Yeah.
Just because they're in the weeds, right? There's so many things coming at them. So I'm excited to see you, Paula. We're going to have a good time at this Niagara County gig. I mean, I'm super pumped for the culinary stuff, super pumped for the panels. My time has moved up. I'm no longer the last one. I'm now
Oh,
the
so I was looking
2:15
at an
slot.
old agenda, I guess.
Oh,
What
you
time?
probably were. I'm at
What time?
2:15. 2:15 on the
Oh,
night.
okay. All right.
So, but there's three other speakers, and I don't know. I haven't looked since that's changed. Melissa just shared with me that information. So I'm at 2:15 on the ninth, and I'm really excited. I'm just going to talk about why patients matter and why our voice needs to not be forgotten, and we need to be part of the conversation because we can
Oh,
educate
100%. Yeah.
and how we can educate. We can be part of designing your dispensary and what to give people to kind of like walk them through the 101 learning. Use the marketing materials that the brands give you that tells about their products. Train your bud tenders every single week on the new products that come in. I mean, when you have 400 SKUs, you need to teach them what's different about this brand of vapes versus this brand of vapes. This one lasts longer. This one is live resin and this one's live rosin. What's the difference between resin and rosin? And one solvent less. What's that mean? The bud tender needs to be able to explain those just basic things, but they don't understand that because they've literally been hired like yesterday and put behind a counter, and this is their thing, right?
Well, they had to get hired to get their background check and their
They had to get
fingerprinting.
hired with their background check, and they had a 3-hour training that is, I believe, through New York State, or they can have an outside contractor, but it doesn't talk about products at all. It
No.
talks about like theft and security and, the importance of checking IDs and inventory, and you're not allowed to do this, that, the other thing. I get that, but I really feel, how can you have a successful dispensary if you don't teach your people about the stuff they're selling? Do you know what I mean? And, teach them that there's QR codes on the back of every product. This one probably had it on the outer packaging because I don't see it here now. But yeah, there should be a QR code on everything so you can tell what terpenes are in it and what it is. And that's a huge win. That's a big thing. So I'm glad New York State is opening up, and I'm glad to see small brands on the shelves. My buddy Kimber Arezi, she's like the baddest, bestest, coolest, chickest, awesomest mom, just good, solid human. She's got her brand Chime and Chill. It's like showing up in all the different dispensaries. It's like this little individual, you have an AM and a PM dose. One puts you to sleep, one keeps you focused and doing everything the way you're supposed to do. It's a really cool product. Um, and I'm really happy to see it on the shelves. Jenny's, another good woman owned product. Ananda Farms, I'm seeing that everywhere.
Ananda, I haven't seen any Ananda farms yet.
Know.
Yeah.
Um,
Sarah.
there's, I hesitate to name names because I mean, there's so many names out there right now. You know what I mean? Like, I need a list of names and who makes it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, because multiple growers are now having multiple brands that they're growing for or co-packing for, which means they're going to ultimately need that co-packing or producer type 3, whatever the hell it is. But there are brands coming at you everywhere. Like when I went in and saw 400 different products in Rochester, I was like, whoa. This is like, I was like at Planet 13. Well, one section of Planet 13, but still, it was a lot of products compared to what I've seen in other dispensaries. I mean, you see like 7 or 8 brands in a lot of the places. This place had like so many brands, just so many. So, I mean, it's a task to train people on that, but that's what's going to set you apart. So, if you need training on products, I am happy to help.
Okay.
Yes,
Well, I think we should leave it there with some good holiday cheer.
I think we should because people are doing the work and making things happen. Everything is not perfect. We get that. We're not trying to ease over anything, but the holidays are here, right, guys? So go to your dispensaries, go support your cause, go help others because at the end of the day, a little smoke can go a long way.
All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. And
We'll
Paula,
see you next week.
yes, Paula, my friend, stay on when I end the stream.
I
So
will.
But yes, friends, we will see you at New Year's Eve on 8 p.m., just like we are here and now. This recording will be available for the next 2 weeks on LinkedIn. And you can, you know, check it out. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if we said things wrong, if I
Yeah,
missed
tell us if we're wrong.
anything, tell us. Like, I am not here to be advising. We are just two humans having a conversation, not giving legal advice or medical advice or anything like that.
And a
We
couple.
just we're just trying to help, right? We're just trying to normalize the conversation. You got like a really smart human with Paula with taxes and stuff, me not so much, but I'm like the advocacy queen, right? I am the sampler. I'm the realist. I'm for the community, but I want to bridge the gap between us all. So I'm looking for solutions, not just complaints. So
Cool.
Merry, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy whatever you
Happy
celebrate.
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa, isn't that the 26th?
Yep. Starts 20
Yeah, look at that. And Boxing Day. Let's not forget
Boxing
Boxing
Day.
Day.
Yeah.
Loose mates and their Boxing Day. And, I'm headed to Canada for New Year's. So guess what? Let's hope we don't have any tech problems. You're going to be in Maine. I'm going to be in Canada. So we'll be in different ends of the world a little bit, but we will make this work. I'm determined. So
Okay.
thank you, friends. We'll see you on New Year's.
Cool.
Bye.